Let me go to New Mexico and talk to first-time caller Taka out of New Mexico. Taka, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jesse.
Hey,
Thank
Taka.
you and your team for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
My question is, since human race is the only race, and there's no other races within human race, has already been proven through biology, but somehow many of us still use the words such as like black, brown, white, Asians, and I'm not sure why some of us, not all, but don't believe in actual science, although they say they believe in science. And I just wanted to hear your take on that.
I don't understand the question.
So, for instance, it's right now it's a huge topic. For instance, people claim as black is a race.
Are you saying
actually
black is not a race?
Correct.
And what is it? What is it if it's not a race?
Oh, it's just societally we categorize each person through. My guess is from not guess, but its truth is from just looking at the person's appearance only. There's no ties with.
But how would you? Let's say that a black person won the Nobel Peace Prize. It was won by a black man, and you didn't know it was a black man, right? But someone wanted to tell you about it. They wanted to say, "Hey, Taka, a black man won the Nobel Peace Prize this year." If they don't say a black man, how would they explain to you that a black man won the Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, it depends where that person actually came from, right? So that's a culture. Cultures are different from skin colors. And for instance, you will never, like, for instance, I came from Japan, but Japanese and Chinese and Koreans, like, if you see them in front of you, even for myself, if they would dress the same, you can't tell the difference. What's the only things? I mean, I'm not going to identify myself yellow, for instance, right? That's what they trying to tell me as. But I'm not a yellow. I'm not an Asian. I'm Japanese because I'm cultured Japanese.
But with the Japanese and the other Asian and Chinese, they would say that you're yellow.
No, then they are wrong. Just simple.
I don't quite understand. Hake is coming in to help me understand. I don't quite understand what you're saying. How would people communicate colors? How would I don't know what you're saying.
So what I'm saying is, let's just as, for instance, like Morgan Freeman had a famous interview with, "Please call me a black man, and I will stop calling you a white man." And it's as simple. It's just his name is Morgan, and you just identify him as a Morgan.
But suppose you don't know him as Morgan, and let's say that Morgan Freeman is standing near a white man, a Chinese man, and a Mexican man, and you don't know him at all. You have no idea who he is, but you want to say, "Well, Morgan Freeman won the award, whatever," right? And you're like, "Well, who's Morgan Freeman?" Would you say that black guy next to over there, or what would you say?
American.
What? What? No.
American, isn't it?
Hey, what is he saying? Hank is here. Do you know who Hank is?
Hank? I'm sorry. I don't know who Hank is.
Hank, H-A-K, and not Hank.
Oh.
Hank is a white guy, and his show comes on right at the end of my show from 9 to 11, and he's a white guy with a show here on the network.
Okay.
So now you know who he is?
I guess you just explained to me, but
And did it help when I
but so
said a white guy?
well, but Jesse, my
Did
question
that
I have
help?
is that yes, well, I mean you
Gotcha.
can categorize them, but I'm saying it's not a race. You know what I mean? It's different race within us, just one race called human race. But I don't think we should use this word race, different races, because the race term is actually, saying that we are so much different than what it is. So, reason why I'm mentioning this because I'm not sure if you ever heard or listened to.
Well, let me ask you this: if you don't say, so are you saying human race doesn't even exist?
Yes, human race do exist.
It does exist, but the color on the human race doesn't exist.
Well, different shade of colors, yes, do exist.
And so there are
But-
black shade, white shade, dark shade, yellow shade, right?
Well, but shades exist, but I'm saying they are not races.
And so should we omit the shades?
No, you don't have to you don't have to omit it. You can use it as describing a person, for instance, like you say. But
Are you
I'm saying that
saying
some people confused that they are the race. Like, for instance, there's no such a thing as a yellow race per se. So
okay.
it's
okay.
you know
I
what I mean?
want
But-
Hake.
so
I want Hake to respond to this. He's white, just for the record.
So
And I want you to
one
listen
last
to
thing.
his
So-
show at 9 a.m. What is he's saying? The human race doesn't exist.
No, he's saying the human.
Right. So
There's one race, the human race. All these other races are not actually races.
Who are they?
They're just different shades, and then within those
Right.
shades, there's all kinds of different cultures.
so
And is
let
he
me tie
saying that?
everything
Hold
together
on,
for you, Jesse.
Yeah, I will, but hold on 1 minute. Is he saying that we should not say the human? I mean, we should not say black or white or Chinese
say it.
or Japanese.
It sounds like he would kind of avoid saying it sometimes. Like, for example, Morgan Freeman, he would call that American, not black American.
But that's just country he live in.
Right. It doesn't really tell you
It doesn't say
specifically
who he is.
Yeah.
No, it's country, but it's come from subcultures, collective of subculture. For instance, the Japanese, right? It's make it easier to make sense of the exact same look, homogeneous cultures like Chinese and Japanese. They don't like each other. For instance, Koreans don't like Chinese, or Chinese doesn't like Japanese, and vice versa stuff.
But that's
they
just
would never
human
identify
nature.
themselves.
That's human nature because human nature is evil,
Right.
and human nature don't like nobody.
On the Christian faith, right? So let me tie everything for you. What I'm saying
But the
is,
Christians
we
don't
need-
like anyone either. Christians like nobody. They don't like their own children.
They don't even like fellow Christians.
Right. They don't like one another. They have no love for one another. Christians are no different than a non-Christian.
right.
Are you thinking that if we stop believing that race exists, that will make peace?
No, it's just I'm not saying it's gonna be just peace forever. It's just I think it just needs to be like truth, right? Facts. It's just the fact is more important than feeding, as you say. You guys always do say that. So the truth is the word race should be used in this. For instance, like there's no white race. For instance, there's no Japanese race, for instance, because Japanese is a culture, not a race. So I had a long discussion on that. Like Chinese is not a race; it's a culture. But genetically speaking, Japanese and Chinese and Koreans are very close to each other, right? Because they look exactly the same.
Right. When I
But
see
why
one
are you
Chinese, I
dividing
see them all.
Well, it makes sense, right? Basically.
Right. What,
Right. So what I'm trying to ties into is, I don't know if you have heard or seen
let
the
me. I
interview
want
with
you. Hold on 1 minute.
Yuri
Hold on 1 minute. Hold
Bezmenov.
on 1 minute. Hold on. The ink. Oh, you know. Oh, okay. Let me just say this to you, all right? Because of time.
Okay.
And then give me a yes or no to this, right?
Sure.
Are you saying that we as human beings should never mention the color of the person or only one race? Okay, human race. You're saying there's only one race, and that's the human race, right?
Correct.
And are you saying that we should never mention the color of the human race?
No.
Are
You
you
can't mention.
Are you saying? Are you a Christian?
No, I'm sorry. No.
Why are you not a Christian? No wonder.
No. So
Why
I
are you not a
understand the
Christian?
Well, I mean, I'm actually come from Japan, so
What does that mean? We have Christians in Japan too. They're just underground.
very few, very, very few.
And why is that?
Well, it's mainly Shintoism and Buddhist nation. So
Oh, okay. Let me
it's not that
ask. Do you,
Sure.
But you're not. So are you a Buddhist?
Actually, I don't identify myself with any religious groups.
So do you believe in God?
Well, yes, yeah, just simply say yes.
You do believe in God.
Right.
Oh, okay. But you don't identify as a Buddhist or Allahu Akbar or a monk or a Christian or
Correct.
any of those things. You just believe in God.
Correct.
Nice. Well, I appreciate it, Taka. Very interesting. Let me go first back to Taka. I thought Taka was done, but apparently he would have more to say about the human race. Let's see here. So Taka, out of New Mexico,
Yes, sir.
first time call. You're saying that the human race does exist, right?
Human race does exist. Yes, one.
But we should not call it a different color thing.
Different colors do exist. Well, you can clearly see, but I'm saying they are not subcategorized to races. Since there's only one race, you can say I don't think my skin tone is close to yellow, but you can say maybe if I'm really close to yellow, then you can probably say as hey, describe this person as you mentioned. But I mean it's a little bit. But you can't say that's a race of a group of people, for instance.
Really?
It doesn't make any sense, right?
And what is the human race?
Is us human, Homo sapiens?
What does that mean?
Is us human? We can close, genetically close to each other on us human with similar, everything is same, organs. We can transfer each other's bloods. I mean,
are gorillas a different species?
Yes.
So man didn't come from the ape?
Correct.
Oh, nice. I was scared there.
So last I'm getting to this. You as a Christian, for instance, you summarize as it's the good against evil, for instance, on the racism, right?
Right.
I do listen to your show often, so I understand it. But on my question I had is why is that these they call themselves progressives and liberals, then they say I believe in science, but they still use the word, for instance, Asian race. There's no such Asian race, but they will say Japanese as race, or black or brown or yellow or red as races. And I think it comes from, I studied the history, and I believe it's coming from, I don't know if you know the interview you saw by Yuri Bezmenov. He was ex-KGB.
Oh,
Explained
yes.
in in the early 80s, that fourth step of ideological subversion. So I understand that using skin tones and, for instance, civil rights and social justice movements as the gateway for demoralization of nation. I think that's where it's just my opinion, not just summarized by simply good against evil, but I think that's where it's taking place right now has already been taking place. And I'm guessing right now we are going through destabilization. And first step has already been completed, as he said, in the early 80s.
Yeah,
So,
I remember seeing that. I talked about it here on the show, too.
Oh, great. Because that's what I understand from studying history, early 1900s, for instance, like a W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, Margaret Sanger, Mary Ovington, I guess, is NAACP founders. They all tied to socialist communist movements. So even Kamala Harris's father, is, I believe, studied socialism, communism. And I'm guessing since he's from Jamaica, he probably listened to Marcus Garvey, I would imagine.
But those people who are creating that type of environment, would you consider them I don't know what to say about them. When you say communism, do you think that they are communist, socialist people?
Yes. Yes, they were documented that, for instance, W.E.B. Du Bois, if I'm not mistaken, I think he went to Russia back in the days in the early 1900s 4 times or 5 times.
Well, I know that he was a socialist. I know that W.E.B. Du Bois was an evil man, and he wanted to control the people. And he even
communist, I think.
Yeah, he left America and went back over to Africa somewhere and died over there because he no longer want to be, according to the reports that I write about in my book, he no longer want to be associated with America.
Right.
He denounced his citizenship. So
my
what's this?
thing is,
okay, go ahead.
So my point was these color divisions by appearance, but not by the culture. Like, for instance, America has culture, its own unique culture. So if you would mention more about Southern culture or Northern culture, Western, East, so for instance, like I married my wife from Chicago, so I would say she's a Chicagoan.
Is she black?
Yes.
What? And you're Chinese?
Japanese.
So a Japanese man came all the way from Japan, went over there to Chicago, and married a black woman.
Correct.
And that makes sense.
Well, I was here already in the United States, so I guess that makes sense. Or doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure.
But the culture is so messed up. Why would you get involved with that type of culture?
Well, I have to be honest. I didn't know because I was young. Just, so.
You didn't know the black culture was screwed up?
I'm not sure if I would like to say screwed up, but.
Is there another way to define it?
Well, I would say, yeah, it's cultural less is probably the best. Because, for instance, I've been saying this to some of the friends, but her grandmother, who passed away maybe 20 years ago, so she grew up, like you mentioned, in Jim Crows and stuff like that, and she was very outstanding person,
Yeah.
and she knows, men and women difference and respect the elders and so forth.
Right.
But I saw the degradation of those kind of ideas and values started to diminish as the generation passed by. So I always told my wife, is like, why people don't value like your grandmother's generation's values?
Yeah.
Because completely different values. Like she didn't speak the same, she didn't act the same. To me, I always tell people that if she looks even different, but she looks different,
Yeah.
but I can identify her as like grandmother-like in, I think, world standard.
Well, now
But
I understand why you married a black woman, because you're right. In those days, the Jim Crow era days, black people and so-called black culture was nothing like it is today. And there was respect for one another and other people. They didn't blame, they didn't hate. They weren't so violent and destructive. They didn't feel like victims. It was upright. So I'm glad you married that kind of black woman. Right on.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I totally understand it now. And so I got to end this conversation, but if we don't get away from this color thing, how will this all end?
I believe what they want is just as Yuri Bezmenov said, demoralization, destabilization, crisis, normalization, which they want us to divide. Basically, simple.
Yeah.
Just simply, they want us to hate each other.
Yes. Absolutely. And the solution is what?
Oh, I'm sorry. You just little breakup.
The solution is what?
Destabilization.
That's a solution?
Sorry. Dissolution. Sorry, I'm sorry, not understanding.
No, I understand my mic going in and out. Nobody seems to know that but me for some reason. What is the solution to all that is happening with human beings right now?
That is a great question, Jesse, and I don't like I'm just a one human being, and I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure I can. I don't know the answer is.
Do you believe that that human beings are evil? Human nature is evil?
Yes. Now I've been listening to your show, and I started to understand that more and more.
And
you need the time to truly understand that.
And that's, Taka, that's the primary problem, is that human beings, human nature itself is evil, and human beings don't know. They're not all, but most are not aware that they are evil. And so I think I know for a fact, I almost said I believe, but I know for a fact, if human were to overcome that evil nature and take on the nature of God, that's truly taking on, not just a Christian Bible thumping, throwing around kind of thing, right?
Yes, sir.
If they really took on the nature of God, switched nature, then this whole idea about racism and race and all cultural and all that stuff would disappear, and we would have peace on earth, because there would be no need to fight. We will all have a brand new nature, which is love.
I do agree, and it makes sense.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm glad you called me, Taka.
Thank you, sir. I always wanted to speak with you, and I really appreciate it. And I will listen to your show from now on as well. So thank you so much. Oh, by the way, I really do appreciate, on behalf of, I guess, humanity, with your service with the bond. And I see that you've been saying this for like decades. So thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Also, I want you to check out the Hake Report right after my show.
Okay. Hank Report. Understood.
Yeah, it's HAKE.
H-A-K. Okay.
Tell him, Hank.
Hake report.
Yeah, the Hake report.
Oh, thank you so much.
Let me know what you think about it. I think he's like one white guy that, well, you know, we have to use white right now because he's white. He's like real white. And he's not afraid. He has love, so he's not afraid.
Oh, nice, good. That's the good way, because I believe like what you said is I used to have the anger and hate before 2020 or 2019, I would say. So.
Did you forgive your mother?
Oh yes, no problem. My father as well, and
nice.
all my family as well, and it's no anger whatsoever.
And I think, and I don't want to adopt hate, but I think hate, because of where he grew up in an area where there are most of Chinese and Asian people. I think he only date Asian and Chinese girls.
Oh.
And he white. Am I right, Hank?
No, it's not right.
Remember, I thought you only dated Chinese and Asian girls.
I have dated them.
Right, that's the only thing I ever seen you with, Asian Chinese girls.
You don't know me.
Thank you, Taco. Call me again, man. Amazing, really amazing call. I'm glad that you called back and we finished this conversation. It's deep.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
All right, call me again, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Amazing. Really amazing call.